I don't know what problem that person is having. Collins Igwe, thank you for joining, Collins. I think the recording have started. I think 1 or 2 persons were removed from the group. I don't know why. I'm really sorry if you're not able to join. I think quite a number of people are coming in, and maybe technical issues and problems from network. But I'm happy that some of you are already here, which is a good thing. We'll go for it. Don't forget we started with something. I want you to ink now, write down, get to write down. At the end, we want questions to come in. I'll try as much as possible to cover everything, because the next that we are having is silent noise. How many of you saw the flyer? The flyer is already there. Silent noise. You can't afford to miss that class coming up. I think our next class is going to be on the 5th of April. I'm just letting you know now that class will be on the 5th of April. Silent noise. That's what is coming. You can't afford to miss that class. Anyway, our YouTube links are also there. We'll share it at the end of the class for us to learn something. But let's go for it. Let's go straight off what we have today. It's creative rebellion. Creative rebellion. Creative rebellion. Don't forget, we have said and we have all agreed that creative rebellion is that idea that anything coming from man is destructible. Listen, I want you to listen carefully. And you see, because of the type of class that we run, it's not the usual class that, things are a little bit simplified in a way, even though I try to make it simple enough. It needs you to balance yourself, have what we call an abstract type of thinking, which will enable you to have clarity. So I think that will be really helpful. I will be taking some time out to break down some of the things I am saying so that you can get clarity. It's just all about you getting clarity. Thank you, Olaoye. Thank you for joining. It's just you getting clarity. And that's why I don't want to rush the class, but I want you to get something. When we can't finish it, I think we stop. We cannot teach everything one day. It is not possible. So what I said about creative rebellion, even though the word rebellion may seem a little bit harsh to the eardrum, what we are saying, and in fact, so cushion it a little, that is why I brought creative to it. So what we are saying there is creative rebellion. And what that means is the ability or the idea that anything that is coming in from man, as far as is coming in from man, a human being just like you, as long as it is coming in from a man, that a man is not perfect, the tendency that whatsoever that came from man is not perfect is there. If you have that recognition that anything coming from man is not perfect, everything that will come from man, certainly there is a level of imperfection that will not be there. That's number 1 point I need you to recognize. Number 2, there is some hidden agenda as long as it is coming in from man. So your position should be having that rebellion enough to question it as long as it's coming in from a man. What that means is that completeness cannot be shared by another human being. Completeness cannot be shared. It's not possible that completion is shared by another human being. That even on their very best day, the thought of a human being is involved already give it that incompleteness. That a human being is part of it, it will give it that incompleteness. Now, remember, we have also said that creative rebellion for you should hold it strong enough to question to pieces everything that you will ever hear from, see, not just hear, see, feel, as long as the 5 senses is involved. Anything that you see, you hear, you will pieces it strong enough to look at for the hidden agenda in it, to look at for anything that is hidden in terms of scripts, and then you pivot and hold your position, not the position of whoever that is bringing it on, because whoever that is bringing it on, two things: is either is imperfect, is not complete, or it has an agenda to make you a victim, an agenda to make you a slave, an agenda to make you a casualty. See, when human beings teach you as I am doing now, including me that is teaching you now, when any being teach you just as I am doing, you still have to sit down to audit whatsoever I am saying. Because those who pass information, I said they also pass error. Don't forget I said so. So when you listen to a human being, certainly you listen with an attitude of rebellion. Listen, I'll repeat that again. When you listen to any human being, you must listen with an attitude of rebellion. Of course, when I say rebellion, like I said, I don't mean that you need to be rude. No, that's not what I'm saying. That is why, like I said, I've added creative to it. The idea that if a human being is saying it, there is an extension to it. No human being can speak in the finality of thought. I'll repeat that. No human being, born of a woman, born of a man. Wait first. Can man give birth? Yes. You know, I was speaking in one, I don't know who I was speaking to, or was it in a group? I can't remember. I said, men are also pregnant. They were like, wow, how do you mean? It's the women that are pregnant. I said, no, men are pregnant. I said to them, I said, why the woman is pregnant in the womb, the man is pregnant in the mind. Where the man carried his own pregnancy is in the mind. Well, anyway, I just said that by the wayside. That's not part of my class today. I'm still on in the class. Let's go back. Remember, I'm taking time out to explain creative rebellion so that you can have clarity that if human being is saying anything, there is an extension to it. No human being, like I said, can come out in terms of speaking in the finality of thoughts. And that's why I said we all know in part, and then we prophesy in part. We prophesy in part, we know in part. No man knows it all. No man knows it all. So when we're talking about the victim, at that stage of you being a victim, those of you that missed the class of when I really explained the victim, the preference, the prejudice, and then the personality, I want you to go back to our YouTube page so that you can actually enjoy the knowledge that flows from there, because all of these are continuity from there. Now, at the stage you became a victim, remember, it bettered your preferences. It bettered your preferences, your prejudice, and finally your personality. What that suggests, or what that means, is that when you were bettered, when you were given birth to, or when you were born, it didn't take how many seconds for you to be a victim. Why? Because you came into the hands of people who started teaching you, showing you what to do and what not to do. And at that very minute that you were a child, you don't have the energy to question any of the things that they were pouring into you. So automatically, that you are who you are now, as the case may be, if we say this is who you are, because that's what you'll be answering. But like I said in our class, it is not who you are, but rather it is who you have become. Who you have become, even in the sense that people poured into you, who you now think you are. But rather, it is who you have become. Do you know, if you were given birth to in another country other than the one you were originally giving birth to now as of today, Do you know your life, your way of talking, your way of behavior would have been different from what you are actually doing as of today? So that means, and that suggests that the environment certainly will have impact and bring you to your totality of your finality of who you may likely be. Those of you that were giving birth, let's give example from where I come from in Nigeria and still live in Nigeria. Do you know who you are now? What you have become, not what you are or who you are, is as a result and a factor of where you were giving birth to. It also means and suggests that if your parents were Muslims, the tendency of you becoming a Christian is really high. Do you know that if they give birth to a child as at today, and the child is 1, 2, 3, do you think that child have the right to question the parent and say, sorry, I am not following you to the church, I am going to the mosque? Anywhere the parent will go, that's where the child will go. The question is, was that child supposed to be a Christian or was that child supposed to be a Muslim? So the question I'm asking you now, you that is a Christian as of today, you that is a Muslim as of today, you that is whatever religion or whatever path you are going on or you are actually journeying, the question is it where you really ought to be, or you are actually in this path as a result of some persons who poured into you, who started pulling you in this very direction? It's a huge question. That's why some people, when they are now adults, strong enough to question some things, you see them changing some of all of this religion they belong. They couldn't change it all this while. Why they couldn't? Because they didn't have the capacity, the energy to question it strong enough. So it is important that you know that this happened at the time when you were not in awareness, when you were not aware of what was happening within your surrounding. And even though you were aware, you may not really know the agenda. You may not have the capacity to question it and say no. You can't say no at age 4. Will the child say no, I'm not going to school? No. At age 5, age 6, age 7. It means that that child is becoming, that's why sometimes I tell all of you, when you see the influence, especially in the country where I come from, when people want to read some courses in the university, a lot of the time, it is not what they actually want to read in the university. Rather, it is what the parents want them to read. Thereby cutting short the journey on the true picture of who this person is. Quite a number of us, what we are now is what we have become and not who we are. And that's why you must have that creative rebellion spirit in you to question everything that has happened to you so far. You must question everything that has happened and that is happening to you. You must question it. You must question it. You must question it. You must question it. In fact, let me tell you something I find out. Let me tell you something I find out. I will tell you, I will share this with you. Do you know how jazz work? When I say jazz, I mean all this diabolic, all this juju like we use in our local language. Do you know how they actually work? I'll tell you, there is nobody in the world that can attack you diabolical. Nobody in the world. Listen to me and listen carefully. There is nobody in the world that can attack you diabolical. It doesn't exist. I think I was speaking to somebody. It just based on interpretation. I was speaking to somebody. I said, if I eat in the dream, a lot of us give strong coloration to such things that happen when you eat in the dream, especially from where I come from. They tend to define it as something that is really bad. They define it as such. Do you know, I tell you the truth, if me, George, if I eat in the dream today, by the time I wake up, I will go to my fridge and open the fridge and carry water and drink so that the food I ate in that dream can actually balance and digest and settle. I'm telling all of you the truth. Once you can actually, you see, let me tell you, what happened in dreams is actually that you are being visited. I don't want to go deep. Maybe I will bring another class when it comes to dream. Because it's the strength and energy you give to it that determine the functionality of such. It is what you call it. That's what it is. If I tell you, if it was something bad or whatever, they brought that food to me, by the time they see my attitude that I went to carry water from the fridge to drink so that the food can, they won't bring that food again. They won't bring that food again. I will drink water to balance it. I will tell them, please bring another one and I will eat. Because that's God showing me some new revelation of what is to come. And I need to eat it. But a lot of us will interpret it, and whatsoever you interpret it to be, because the enemy will prey on your ignorance. Write this down. The strength of the oppressor is in the maintenance of ignorance. Write that down. The strength of the oppressor is in the maintenance of ignorance. The strength of the oppressor, everybody type it. The strength of the oppressor is in the maintenance of ignorance. The strength of the oppressor is in the maintenance of ignorance. Is in the maintenance of ignorance. Do you know? I tell you the truth. Everything I'm telling you is what I hold strongly as a person, and that's what has built me. The person you see as George, there's so many things that is in the normal that's for me. No, I don't share with such. No. As far as I'm concerned, no. It may be normal within everybody. That's the custom, the tradition where everybody. For me, I just choose to be different. I choose to be different from what is normal. I want to act abnormal. I want to act in a way that is not normal. That is the way I see things. That is the way I see things. I am acting in the way that is not usual to normal tradition of doing the way they do things. I am acting in that way. So many things that is your belief system, that's completely for George, it is not. It's just different. The way I will interpret things, the way I will do things, the way I will look at it is I use a different eye, a different mentality, a different mindset to look at it. I will use a different mindset to look at it. I was talking about how jazz or diabolic, all those juju stuff, how they work. I was just trying to relate it before I went to dream. Don't worry, I will bring another class that I have to talk about how dreams and all of that, what dreams are. Maybe I'll bring that particular teaching to you. Like I said, there is no power in any of those. But the question will be, but how does jazz work? How does all those stuff, how do they work? You must come to the understanding that to whom you yield yourself to obey, the same shall be your master. Listen carefully. So whatsoever you have chosen to obey, that same thing shall be your master. The thing itself has no mastering in it. Never. It is your yieldedness, your own yieldedness. In fact, your yieldedness is the inventor of the mastering, which is now over you. In fact, let me give you an example. If you come to this paper, how many of you can, of course, I expect all of you to see the paper. If you come to this paper I'm holding now, and say, paper, I worship you. I worship you, paper. If you come to this paper and you are saying, I worship you, paper, I worship you, I promise you, in fact, it is called auto-suggestion. But there's another class I can bring to you on auto-suggestion. I can guarantee you that in 14 days, if you continue like that to say, paper, I worship you, you will start hearing message clearly from the paper. And it will be telling you, it will tell you, my son, kneel down, and you will kneel down. You will hear clearly. It will tell you, my son, rise up. You will rise up. You know why? Because you are hearing it clearly. In fact, that you are hearing it clearly now from the paper speaking to you, nobody can convince you anymore. Nobody can convince you again that there is no God in the paper. The question is, are you hearing something for real? Yes, you are hearing. Are you being instructed? Yes. Except that you are the instruction. You are the instructee, and then you are the instructor. You are the one talking to yourself. You are the one managing all the three disciplines. You are the one. In fact, we call it shared beliefs. So to whom you yield yourself, the same shall be your master. If you believe jazz is possible, and you believe you have jazz, if, for example, I believe that this jazz that is working, this jazz that people do is actually possible and is working, and another person is having it, when me and that person meet together, the jazz will work on me. Why? Because I believe that, yes, it is possible and it will work. So when we meet, that jazz has the capacity to work on me. You know why jazz didn't work on the white men when they visited Africa? It did not work on the white man. You know why? Because it doesn't have any context. It does not even exist in his mind at all. It's just like if you bring, there was one good food. In fact, there was something I ate in Lagos when I visited Lagos. It's called, is it abula? The person that made it for me is in this class now. Very nice food. In fact, I saw food, I was scared. If you bring that abula, I know it's normal traditional food for the Yorubas. If you bring abula and bring it before a Chinese person, what do you think he's going to call it? You bring abula and then you bring the food, or you travel to China and then mention abula. They don't have it in, it does not even, something like that. They've not seen it before. They don't even know what it is. So it doesn't actually resonate in their dictionary, in their findings, in their mind. Is not existing anywhere. It's not existing anywhere. And that's why the jazz didn't work on white men, because it doesn't exist in their context. And because of that, they colonized you. They colonized us, whichever way. They still colonize us. When the black man came with jazz, And then the white man came with gunpowder and maybe one interpreter. Let's say, for example, in the Yoruba, they were called the Baloguns, all those people that go for war and fight. In fact, Balogun went straight in front of the white man with some incantations and all of that, whatever they say. But you see, the gunpowder doesn't understand that. The moment the Balogun started with whatever he was saying, the white man asked the interpreter and said, what's happening? Is he angry with us? And then the interpreter said to the white man, said, yes, he's very angry. He said, me is really angry. He said, yes. And the white man with the gun fired Balogun, and Balogun went on the floor. Balogun went down straight. In fact, when the rest saw Balogun on the ground, they ran, they took to their heels. The king came out maybe with a sword. When the king turned his back to see, everyone has fled. But you see, they say when the going gets tough, the tough cannot just keep going. No. When the going gets tough, if the tough decide to keep going, the tough can get lost. When the going gets tough, the tough should be wise enough to seek collaboration. I'll repeat that. When the going gets tough, the tough seek collaboration. You can write that down in the chat group. When the going gets tough, the tough should seek collaboration. That was what happened with most of the kings. The king said to the white man, said, calm down. What is it? What do you want? Let us know. Oh, you want slaves? We can organize that. I have 500 from my village. I can speak to the other village. They have maybe 1,000 and all of that. It's not slave you want. But what do you have for me? And the white man said, well, I have mirror and I have some whiskey. In fact, they made all of that arrangement, and over millions were taken on slavery. That was how a lot of the African countries were colonized. Have you forgotten? You will remember that there was a king that the white man took with all whatever they used in dressing, with all the juju or whatever. They bundled the king and took the king on exile, moved the king away from the palace, and took the king as far as Calabar, took the king from Benin, took the king straight to Calabar. That was when jazz was really jazz. Not now that what they are doing is technology. You visit any of them, they give you safety pin. You know, when jazz, when all those juju were really raw, we were colonized. In spite, what did they use in colonizing us? Gunpowder, which is not even part of any warfare weapon as far as we are concerned now. When we have chemical weapons, ballistic missile, as at now. So it is your yieldedness that you give to those things that create that power that you think that is in it. So your yieldedness to anything, this thing, your yieldedness to anything without questioning it is what enslaves you to it. Your yieldedness to anything without questioning is what enslaves you. You must question everything, especially when it is coming in from the energy of 1 to infinity. Remember, I told you two types of thinking, 0 to 1 and then 1 to infinity. I told you about 0 to 1, and then I told you about 1 to infinity. If you remember, I think in our last two classes or in our last class, I was talking about 0 to 1 and then 1 to infinity. 0 to 1 is the thinking that nothing is existing and then you create something out of nothing. And then 1 to infinity is, oh, you are creating something on what is already existing. And that's the 1 to infinity type of thinking. The 0 to 1 type of thinking is creating something out of nothing. In fact, that was actually how the world was created, from nothing. In fact, let me let your mind into this. There are 4 trajectories in expanding yourself. I will quickly let you in this. Let me expose your mind to it. There are 4 trajectories in expanding yourself. There is what we call the what. There is the why, there is the how, and then there is the what next. That is the what, why, how, what next. 4. The what, the why, the how, the what next. You can type that. I'll repeat that for the last time. The what, the why, the how, and then the what next. Every time you try to articulate something from end to end, it is important you see these 4 aspects, or these 4 I've mentioned. The what is the energy of clarity. But write that, very important. The what is the energy of clarity. The what is the energy of clarity. The why is the energy of motivation. The energy of motivation, that is the why. You really have to know why you are doing what you are doing. Most people don't live beyond what at all. They don't live beyond the what. In fact, the best people try to live around the what and then the why. However, I tell you this, you have to transcend into the how. How is the energy of innovation. The how is the energy of innovation. And then what is next, that's what next is the energy of domination. That is strong enough. Type that down. What next is the energy of domination. I can tell you, if there is something God has given me as a gift, is in that particular energy of what next. Having the ability to tell what is to come. You dominate a lot of things. Having that capacity to tell. Remember, that's also how God is. The Bible describes it like God telling the end from the beginning. He knows what is to come. What next? That's the energy of domination. That's the energy of domination. Is actually that 1 to infinity type of thinking. That's the how. What next is 0 to 1. Nothing is existing. You create it. 0 to 1 thinking is what created the world. The world was created out of nothing. Out of nothing. We cannot be talking about innovation except there is something on ground to innovate. In fact, the countries that rule the world has that type of thinking, which is 0 to 1. The 0 to 1 type of thinking. In fact, majority of our thinking is actually from 1 to infinity. Meaning something is already in place. Something is already existing. And from that very position, we have our own stats. But you see, what is in place was produced by humans like you. And don't forget, anything produced by a human has 2 things. Is either is not perfect or has an agenda, which is certainly having his own agenda already produced by a human being like you. And once it's produced by a human being, it is susceptible to error. It is open to error. So the question is, what do you do at this very point? if you are starting, which majority of us is starting from, which is 1 to infinity type of thinking. The question I'm asking all of us now, what do you do if all of us have to start from 1 to infinity? What did I teach you that you need to do? Who can answer it? If you can answer, unmute yourself and give me that answer. When you are starting from 1 to infinity, which majority of us we are doing, what do I ask you to do? Who have the answer? I will end this class if I don't get an answer. Eh?
Let me try. We start
Eh?
from, let me try. We start from what is already existing.
I said,
No matter
whenever
what,
you want to, hold on, when you want to start from what is already existing, what do you have to do? Come on, you people should learn very well. What I said is simple. Whenever you are starting with anything already in place, question it. Question it. Question it. Why do you have to question it? I said 2 things. Is either it has an agenda because it's already existing. Nobody started it. For example, the school was not started by you. You must question it. What is the agenda? Why do we have school in place? Let me ask you. They said you must go to school to become a doctor. And in the end of your school, they will give you a certificate. And maybe you go in and serve and all of that. And then you are now called a doctor. Let me ask you the question. The very first doctor, who certified him? The first doctor that you would say, oh, this is a doctor, who gave him a certificate? Who gave him a certificate? It means that you are a doctor. It means that some person sat down. In fact, there's a teaching I'm bringing on the 30th called The Table. In fact, I don't know if you are in London, I want to encourage you to join that particular teaching. It's going to be live teaching. It's not going to be online. It's going to be live teaching, and it's going to be happening straight at Avellette City. I want to encourage you, if you are in London, that is the way to go. The flyer, don't worry, I will share the flyers also. If you're in London, I want you to come in and listen to that class. Now, what I'm letting you know is that anything coming from man is open to error. And then there's enough reason why you need to question it. Why? Because it's coming in from a man just like you. But like I said, the energy which is better off is from 0, when nothing is existing, and then you start it. When you start something, it's better, but it's okay. When something is already existing, question it and then bring up what we call innovation. In fact, let me go deeper on the victim stage. Talking about the victim stage, a lot of people have gone ahead of you who have documented the way things ought to be done or the way things should be done. In fact, the oppression is, if you are not careful, you are going to be following a particular experience or experiences of people. Not just their experience now, you are following what they have documented. And once you follow what they have documented, you will miss the principle. You will miss the principle. Not just missing the principle, you will miss the uniqueness of your own journey. You will miss the true being which you are. Why? Because you have been following scripts. You have been following what people have documented. They say you must start school at the age of 2, and you started. They said, no, after primary school, you go to secondary school. You see, let me tell all of you in Nigeria, that's why quite a number of us are stranded. See the pattern. After primary school, you go to, in fact, they don't even start from primary school again. They start from pre-KG or pre-nursery or whatsoever they call it. From there, you go to primary school. From primary school to secondary school to you write JAM, you go into the university. After university, what next? You go and serve NYSC. What next? That's the end. That's why you have so many graduates that miss their completeness. Why? Because they are running a script, a document, an experience that has been documented by a few set of people, gave it to us as a country, and then we have been following that system and that pattern. And what is it called? Curriculum. Remember, I said the white man took our classroom, took our education and gave us classroom. So people documented all these things and we have been following it. And few people break away from that particular system. Few people, they break away from that system. Am I saying education or academics is wrong? No. Remember I said there's a difference between academics and education. I'm not saying academics is wrong. What I'm saying is you must get to a point. There's a point you get to, academics have to end. You can't continue to go to school forever. And if it's by school, there are so many people that are so much, they are doing so much well that people that went to school are actually working under them. So many. So many. So school is important, but the more you go to school, the more of your originality you will lose. I'll repeat that. The more you go to school, the more of your originality you will lose. Why? Because the school has been structured in a way to mirror you or to teach you, to make you to behave in a particular pattern. But like I said, you must have that creative rebellion in you to question everything and say, no, yes, I'm at this stage now. I need to be doing business at this stage. I need to go and learn something different from this normal style and this pattern, which they say, oh, from this time you go to this, from this time you go to this, from this time you go to this. At the end, in the end of it all, you are stranded. No school system is designed to build an entrepreneur. That's why by the time we go to school, with all that we have learned in school, we are not able to come up with a job. We are not able to come up with businesses. You know why? The curriculum is designed to provide and present a worker for Nigeria University. Majority of those curriculum is designed to produce a worker. It's designed to produce a worker. And if you follow it, you will miss the uniqueness of your own journey. The flavor of your own difference. The aroma of your true self. And the weight of your own movement. You will miss all of that. In fact, I need everybody to understand this. You are never going to be recognized. Listen carefully. You are never going to be recognized. Your idea will not be recognized nor rewarded. You will not be recognized or rewarded for your similarities with people. You will never be recognized or rewarded. You must be big. Look at the word I use. Very, very big in creative rebellion. As long as, listen, I said you need to be big in creative rebellion. as long as you are not breaking any laws, as long as you are not offending God, as long as you are not disrespecting people, you must have the freedom to stand in the authority of your difference. That's what I'm telling you. You must have that boldness. You must come to that freedom to stand in the authority of your difference. You don't need to talk like anyone. You don't need to. You don't need to walk like anyone. You don't need to look like anyone at all. Yes, you can learn from everybody, but it must be enough to produce you. Produce yourself. It must be strong enough to produce your own sound. The universe, the universe is actually designed to respond to your own sound. The universe is looking for you for your own unique journey. The nutrients of your journey are for you alone, for you, not for any other person. And the people who will answer to that sound, they are there. And that is why I believe strongly on APP. What is APP? In fact, I will bring a class on APP. Very strong class, strong teaching. APP stands for Assignment Protective Power. APP. Type it on the chat group, everybody. APP. Assignment Protective Power. Assignment Protective Power. APP. Assignment Protective Power. APP. APP is that idea that you cannot just die except you have completed your assignment on earth. You cannot just die. There's an assignment protective power, and that assignment protects you. APP. Assignment protective power. You cannot just die. You cannot. If you see anybody that is actually passing on, just know that the person has completed his own assignment. And to say, yes, you have lived well is not based on longevity. No. Longevity is not equal to, oh, yes, you have done well while you live on earth. Because if we are to use that to judge it, then all of us can zero in and conclude that Jesus Christ failed. And we know he didn't fail. Till now, the world have not actually lost one angle on trying to find him. Everybody is still experiencing him. How old was Jesus Christ when he died? 33. His assignment was complete, and that was enough to end to say yes. But if we are to judge by it and say you live 33, we shouldn't. Once you see, I have gotten to a stage, if anybody die, I just have that recognition that, oh, this person has completed his journey. He has completed his journey. You cannot just die. You have an assignment. And until that assignment is completed, you can't go. You're on a journey. Let me quickly discuss this. There was this couple, a man and a woman. They were already tired of the marriage. They were tired. They were already talking to lawyers. Everybody, listen to me carefully. You will learn from this. They were talking to lawyers, and they wanted to part their ways. They wanted to divorce. They were already, they were tired of the entire marriage thing. Why they were doing that, all of a sudden, before you know it, something meets something and all of that. They met together, and before you know it, the woman discovered she was pregnant. She discovered she was pregnant. And based on the baby that is coming, they say, okay, well, and fine, let's just have this baby, and then we'll, after which we'll make that decision and finally part ways. And they went on, and the woman had the baby. But before the woman had the baby, before you know it, so many things started happening. The love was coming back. They were coming back to the union. They were becoming stronger and all of that. And just before the woman had that baby, the man was saying, why do we need to divorce? The woman was saying the same thing. I said, I don't think we need to continue with this paper and all of that. They said, no, we just have to stop and just focus and come back again. And right 9 months, the woman had the baby. They were very happy. You know what happened? In 5 months, that baby died. The baby that brought them back died. And everybody was worried. Why? Until it was so clear that the assignment of that baby was fulfilled. And what was the assignment of that baby? Was to bring these two couples together. By our definition, that baby has lived for a very short 5 months. And then we can conclude and say, oh, the baby passed on. Oh, the baby has not. Oh, we will all be worried and all of that. That is in our own interpretation. But in the eye of God, the assignment of that baby was to bring these two couples together. And she has done that. And then it was time for her to go. She went back. And while they journey, the couple it was not only that child. They had another baby. They have at least, I think, when I was reading this thing, they have 4 children together. And they are still living together till date. The assignment of that baby was just to bring the two couples together. It's 8 o'clock, Jesus. It's 8 o'clock. Oh, no. We've not gone far, Maybe I will just try to, I don't know. Maybe I should be rounding off. We can't have part 4. Remember, we are going to silent noise. That's our next topic we are looking at. But I'm just, while I do that, like I talked about APP, don't worry, I'll bring a class on APP, which is assignment protected cover. You cannot just die. Don't forget, I have mentioned it clearly here. We malfunction when we go out of design. Remember, I said that. I think in one of our class, I told you all that our history intimidates our design. Our history intimidates our design, making us a victim on so many levels. Making us a victim. Let me see if I can run through this. I think we'll just stop here. I don't know. There are 3 stages of your life. Let me quickly run through. If I can quickly cover up this space, but I don't want to have a part 4 of this class, though we have so much we needed to still cover. But again, we cannot. I said there are 3 stages of your life. 3 stages. There's what we call the identity stage. In fact, this stage is actually a very complex stage. Very, very complex stage. Very complex stage. It's complex because that is where you build your low self-esteem. Please take note. You build 4 things at this very stage. You build your low self-esteem. You build your fears. You build your insecurity. And then you build your victim mentality. 4 things. You build your... what did I mention again? Who can remind me? You build your fears. You build your insecurity. You build your victim mentality. And you build your low self-esteem. In fact, more truth is, This stage is not by age at all. You can be 59 and be in this stage. You can be 12, you can be 72 and be on this very stage. You can be on any age and be on this stage.
Identity stage.
Yes, identity stage. It is the stage where your identity is being formed. But you see, the truth is, at the victim stage, at the victim level, your identity is not being formed by you or based on your own terms. It is being formed by your interaction with other people. It is being formed by human beings like you. And some of them don't even like you, and that's the truth. Some of them hate you. Some of them don't, in fact, some of them want to kill you. Some of them also want to support you. Anyway, all kinds of people are there. In fact, as you navigate through all of them, depending on how many rejections you experience, and then your interpretation of these rejections, in fact, they are going to condition you, or they are going to attempt to condition you into what we call low self-esteem. They will be attempting to install into you programs that are useless, unusable. Use something inside you that we just recognized you and make you a victim. Unusable enough to defeat you and not necessarily to help you. They will attempt to build in you a victim mentality where you will begin to blame everybody and everything except yourself. Except yourself. You will have what we call an entitlement mentality, a victim mentality, where you feel very sorry for everything and blame your history for everything. In fact, when people say take responsibility, they are not asking you to own your own problem. That's not what it is. They are not also trying to say I own the problem. No. Taking responsibility is understanding your problem enough to take new actions. Please write that one down. Taking responsibility is understanding your problem enough to take new actions, contrary to it. In fact, you are not taking responsibility through acknowledgement. No, acknowledgement is not taking responsibility. Please take note of that. It's also important. When you acknowledge it, no, acknowledgement is not taking responsibility. When you take responsibility, it is beyond acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is the beginning. Recognition is the beginning. Clarity is the beginning. But the ultimate of it is you are now taking new actions that can trump. In fact, when I mean Trump, I don't mean President Trump. No, that can trump. It means that can surpass the negative or the narrative that you have actually acknowledged that particular problem, as the case may be, and then you are taking new actions that can help in solving these problems. That is actually when you take responsibility. In fact, I said all of this to say it is time to take new actions. It is time to take new actions. It is time to take new actions. I'm just taking more time. I want to finish it up for today, and then that's it. I may take maybe 10 minutes, maybe extra 4 minutes to just run it up. It is time to take new actions. It is time. Everybody type take new actions on the chat group. Take new actions. Take new actions. Take new actions. Let me quickly talk about, you see, talking about fear, your fear is built during the victim stage. That is what happened. Your fear that you have. In fact, every human being is born fearless. Every human being on earth is born fearless. All fears are learned. We learn all our fears. That is actually the phase where identity is defined. And some people never leave this phase. They are jailed by their own insecurity. They are jailed by their own fear. They are jailed by their own victim mentality. They just begin to see the world from that perspective. It becomes like a glasses they are wearing. They used to see. It becomes what I call the RAS, R-O-A-S, RAS, which is reticular activating system. It becomes what they use in drawing up conclusions. It will build what we call neural paths in their brain that actually tell them this is how things is done. This is normal. This is your reality. This is who you are. It is not who you are. It is who you have become. This is how things is done. You will likely accept it. And you'll begin to see and interpret and hear and judge and make decisions based on all of that. In fact, these are not installations of nature. No. These are installations of fellow human beings like you. These are installations of human beings like you. They have conditioned you to behave in a particular pattern. And you must be ready to question all of it. You must be ready to question all of this. You must be ready. You must be ready. Please, I beg you. I beg you. Question everything. Question everything. At least once you are age 21, it's strong enough for you to question everything that you've been taught. But the truth is, some people never leave this stage. They will just continue. They will just continue. If I remember this, whatsoever your hands find to do, as long as you are not breaking laws, listen, as long as you are not offending God, as long as you are not displeasing God, as long as you are not violating your own meaning, you are not violating your own peace, as long as you pray sincerely and in your heart strongly enough, you believe this is what you want to do. You believe strongly that this is what you want to do. This is what it is. It's not that maybe you are forming it or no. This is what you actually sincerely believe. The truth is, you don't need to be right. I'll repeat that again. If you sincerely believe, as long as you're not offending anybody, you are not displeasing yourself, you're not displeasing God, you strongly believe that this is correct, this is what it is, you don't need to be right. You don't have to be right. In fact, let me close with this. I cannot finish this class, but I will close with this. I want all of you to listen now as I summarize all of this. If you need to write this one down, write it down. In fact, the biggest statement here is this. Decisiveness is superior to right decision. I want you to write that one down. Decisiveness is superior to right decision. Decisiveness cannot be tamed by wrong decision. No. Decisiveness, made sincerely, has a place for redemption in the future or a place for progress in the future. Whether it is right or wrong, as long as it is sincere and decisive, there is redemption or there is progress ahead. There's progress ahead. It is either you get it right, which is progress, or you get it wrong, which is there will be redemption. It will still amount to progress. That's why I said decisiveness is the key. What I'm saying is this: you need to make decision. You don't need to be right. But as long as you are sincere, even if that's your decision, listen, even that's your decision, even though it is a wrong decision, that you have made the decision to decide, it becomes right. Two things will happen. Is either that decision you are making now, that you have decided, that decision you are making now, is either is certainly going to be right or wrong, whichever way, right? I said that it is right, it is progress. Watch. And I said, if it is wrong, let's even say, oh, this decision you are making now, it is wrong. I said in the future that you make the decision, I said there is redemption for it. And that's why I said decisiveness is superior to right decision. You don't need to be right. Make the decision now. Make that decision. Make that decision. Whether right or wrong. As long as you are sincerely, and I want to encourage you, make your decision based on knowledge. You don't need to be afraid to make decisions. You don't need to be afraid to make decisions. And you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to chase perfection before you can make decisions. You don't need trying to be sure. You don't need to be sure. And you will never make any move. Please, I beg you, make that decision. Make that decision and keep moving. Make the decision and keep moving. I'm sorry, I've taken 14 extra minutes. So much, but I think I just have to stop here. We have to stop here. I'm sorry, I just have to stop here. Kelechi, thank you, Kelechi. Kelechi, thank you. Hello, my friend. Ian.
Hello, how are you?
I'm all right, Ian. How are you?
Okay. Very good.
You learned something?
Yes.
I know. Thank you, Ian. How's your wife?
He's all right. Thank you very much. Your wife
She's
is
all right.
okay?
She's okay, right?
Yeah, everything is okay.
Yes, good. Is your wife, is she there?
Yeah.
Is she there?
I go on the shop.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, hope you learned something.
Yes, normal.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you. Now I'm saying my bye to everybody. Thank you, everybody. I should have taken one or two questions. Let's see. Let's see if we take one question. Is anybody having a question? Just one question. One question. We take one question. One question. One question.
Sorry. Thank you, everybody.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not actually a question because looking at today's question, today's teaching is quite broad. Looks like a lot of people are quite confusing, but I bet you if you go back to watch the video again, and then you may be able to check one or two words that you find difficult to actually, bring a meaning to as the teaching is ongoing. But the basic thing, creative rebellion is preaching, is for you to self develop, discover yourself and be able to break the pattern. Because whenever you are self-aware, you've been able to realize yourself. You feel like, okay, why should I follow this pattern? What is being suggestive to me? Why can I make a difference? Then it will now require your conscious efforts and time. You have to give it time. It's not what you can just question and immediately you get to it. It takes time. Why people may bully you and say, oh, why is he going a different direction? And definitely, if you don't go through a different direction, just like Bro George has said, you may never be recognized because the pattern is already there that people have been following. But if there is a creative rebellion and you want to break out, it brings you to be celebrated. And so while I feel a lot of people are quite not very clear, because you feel that Bro George has delivered so much, I felt he has delivered a lot, and people, they are trying to like, okay, how do I bring this to, to practice, to reality? I want to encourage us that you go back to the video and, carefully listen to it and take one word after the other and try to see what exactly is he trying to, to say here. Thank you.
Thank you, Barrister Kenny. Thank you, Barrister Kenny. Just to let you know, I put the link on the chat group. You need to go back and look at part 1, part 2, and then part 3, so that you have a clarity. Like just what Kenny said, that this whole thing, it's for you to be able to question anything. If everybody is going right, no, I'm not going right. Why do I need to go right? I need to know why. Why are we going right? Why are you asking all of us to go right? Can't we go left? Why are we not going left? We must go left. What's in left that we don't? Why are we not going left? I don't know if you get the point. So that's what we are saying. Though sometimes some people will greet you with some kind of level of this thing, because they will say you are being rude or you are not following, or I tell you the truth, that is even more strength for you. The ability for you not to in any way, I tell you, to follow what is the general pattern of people, and then finding your own unique journey just for yourself. Don't listen. You don't need to be rude. You don't need to be disrespectful. You don't need to break any law. That's why I said, as long as you are not disrespectful, you are not breaking any law, you are on point. Follow your unique self. There is so much strength in you. You don't need to follow people's pattern. You have your own. You have your own uniqueness. You have your own journey. And you must hold those things strong enough to produce you. And they will hear, they must listen to you. They have no choice to listen to you. I think I'll just welcome Terry. Terry, go ahead. One more question and then that's it. Terry, your hands were up before. I'll still take you if you're still ready to ask your question. Go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, thank you very much. What I learned here is you said decisiveness is superior to take decision, and you don't need to be right. My question is, when you take your decision and you know what you are doing is right, and you try to correct people, and people you are trying to, and you know you are right what you are doing, and all of them try to gang up against you, they want to let you know that what you are doing and that decision you take is not right. What do you do, sir? What will you do, sir? That's my question.
Okay, I think there was some noise at the background, but if I get that question clearly, is that when you are taking up decision and you know you are right, that's your question. And then there are people that are trying to gang up against you, but you know that that decision you are taking is right decision, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, correct, sir. Very correct, sir.
Yes, you see, like what I have said, you have already answered the question. I said, when you sincerely take decision, it does not matter whether it is right or wrong. Did you see now?
Yes, sir.
It
Yes, sir.
doesn't matter
Yes.
whether that decision is right, whether that decision is wrong, it doesn't matter. But that you sincerely and genuinely take that decision. I said there are two things waiting for you. Is it that because when you are taking this decision now, you don't know the outcome yet, right? Two things may happen. Is it that decision is a right decision or it's going to be a wrong decision? Is that not true?
Yeah. Yes,
okay,
right,
I'm not telling you that in the future, two things will happen. Is either you will make progress if it is the right decision. That's number one. Or there will be redemption if it is a wrong decision. Why there will be the reason why there is going to be redemption for you is because you made that decision, because you decide. That's why they will tell you indecision is decision. It is for you to take that decision and then for you to just keep quiet and not decide. And that's why I said decisiveness is superior to right decision. That you are deciding, it does not matter whether it is right or wrong. And don't forget, I can push this. Let me tell you something. There were some lepers that were supposed to go into the city. They were hungry, They said if they go into the camp or into the city, they will kill them. They were at that position of, if we go into the city, they will kill us. But if we stay here, we will also die. You know what they did? They made decision to go into the city. When they were expected to be killed. But do you know when they got there, they were not killed? What I'm trying to tell you is simple. Whether it is wrong or right decision, as long as you are making it sincerely, you are not forming anything, you are not trying to cajole anything, as long as it's from a sincere heart, two things will happen. Progress or redemption certainly will show up. And I think on that note, answering Terry and everybody here that would have followed up with that question, we're bringing it up to a close. We'll be welcoming you in our next class, which happened by Mr. Kenny. I think Mr. Kenny, are you still there? On the
on the 5th.
On the 5th of April.
Yes,
we are looking at creative. Sorry, we are looking at noiseless.
Noiseless sound.
Silent.
Yes, we are looking at
silent noise.
Silent noise.
Silent
noise. Silent noise. That sounds somehow, is it? How can you say a noise that is silent? Don't worry, come to that class by on the 5th of April. You'll get to see what we hold for you. Just to say thank you to all of you that have made it to join class today. Matilda Emmanuel, that's my big sister. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Pastor Fabiana, the Archbishop. I love that clap. I love that encouragement coming in from Archbishop Fabiana. Thank you, S.A. Jojo. Thank you, Nestoria. Thank you, all of you saying your love, sending in your love. Thank you so much. Olaolu Femi. Olaolu, how are you? Thank you for joining the class. Omolola. Thank you so much for joining on Mosede Oni. Thank you so much.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
God bless you. Thank you so much on Mosede Oni.
Sir.
Thank you. Oyebanjo. Thank you. Olaoye. Thank you. Philomena. Thank you. Precious. Ofure. Thank you so much. Precious. Thank you for joining. Belisa John. Thank you. Richmond, I'll talk to you tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Call me. Rosemary Osazua, thank you so much. Terry, thank you. Ian and the wife, thank you for joining. Victoria, thank you so much for joining. God bless you all. Ese Yamu, thank you. Ese, how are you? Nice to have you here. I'm happy you are here. Thank you, Ese. Thank you so much for joining. Who is there again? Bemisola, thank you so much for joining. Esther, thank you. Cynthia Bright, thank you. Austin Ejale, thank you so much for joining. There are more hands going up. Don't worry, send me a private message. I will answer you if there are any angle. You have my phone number. Quite a number of you have my number. Send me a private message. I will answer. I will answer you. Send me a private message on your questions. I will answer you. I will send you a message on WhatsApp to answer. Ian, if you got a message, send me a private message. I will answer. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining the class for today. I'll see you on the 5th of April. Bye for now. God bless you. God bless you all. Thank you. I'll see you on the 5th of April, where we'll look at silent noise. Bye, everybody. I'll see you.